Before it was an empire, before its name echoed across continents, Rome was only a myth, a tale whispered through centuries. It began not with emperors, but with twins, not with palaces, but with a wolf. According to Roman myth, the origin of Rome begins not in Rome itself, but in the ancient kingdom of Alba Longa, a city said to be founded by Aeneas, the son of Aeneas, the Trojan hero who escaped the fall of Troy and journeyed to Italy. Alba Longa was located in the Alban Hills, southeast of where Rome would eventually stand. For generations, its kings ruled the region of Latium, a loose network of Latin tribes. Among those kings was Numitor, a fair and respected ruler. But his reign was cut short when his younger brother, Amulius, staged a coup. Amulius seized the throne, exiled Numitor, and slaughtered his male heirs to prevent any challenge to his rule. To silence the bloodline completely, Amulius forced Numitor's daughter, Rhea Silvia, to become a Vestal virgin, sworn to celibacy and the service of the goddess Vesta. But fate, or the gods, intervened. Rhea Silvia became pregnant by Mars, the god of war. She gave birth to twin boys, Romulus and Remus. Amulius, fearing the children could grow to reclaim the throne, ordered them drowned in the Tiber River. Yet the servant tasked with the job placed them in a basket and set them adrift, trusting the river to decide their fate. The basket came to rest in the flooded lowlands beneath the Palatine Hill, a swampy area that would one day become the heart of Rome. There the infants were discovered not by humans, but by a she-wolf who nursed them in her den, the Lupercal. Later, a shepherd named Faustulus found the boys and, together with his wife Acca Larentia, raised them in the countryside. The twins grew up unaware of their royal heritage, but their leadership and strength stood out. Eventually, they learned the truth, overthrew King Amulius, and restored their grandfather Numitor to the throne of Alba Longa. But Romulus and Remus didn't stay. Instead, they chose to found a new city of their own near the site of their miraculous rescue. They scouted the 7 hills overlooking the Tiber and chose one, the Palatine Hill. The area was mostly unoccupied, though nearby Latin and Sabine tribes had settlements. It was fertile, had access to the river, and was easily defended. It was, as the myth would later suggest, where destiny had placed them. Yet the brothers quarreled over where to build and who should lead. They used augury, interpreting bird flights for divine will, but each claimed victory. When Remus mocked the walls Romulus was building, either by leaping over them or belittling their height, Romulus, in a fit of rage, killed him. Alone, Romulus continued. He drew sacred boundary lines with a plow, a Roman ritual known as the pomerium, marking the space of the new city. He invited outcasts, criminals, and refugees to populate it, anyone willing to accept Roman rule. He organized the city into curiae tribes, formed a senate of elders, and established religious rites that would define Roman identity. Thus, in 753 BCE, on the banks of the Tiber, Rome was born, not as a kingdom of nobles, but as a refuge for the unwanted, built not on peace, but on conflict, ambition, and destiny. The fratricide wasn't just tragic, it was symbolic. From the beginning, Rome's destiny was forged in violence and ambition. Romulus named himself king, gathered followers, and opened the new city to outsiders, runaways, criminals, and exiles. It was a bold move. Rome wasn't founded by noblemen, it was a home for the rejected. But Romulus had one more challenge. Without women, his city would die. He solved it by staging a festival and abducting the women of a neighboring tribe, the Sabines. It was a brutal act, but one that defined early Roman logic: survival above all. According to Roman tradition, Romulus ruled for many years after founding the city. Under his leadership, Rome expanded rapidly. He created its first institutions, formed alliances, and led it through wars, but his death, like much of his life, is wrapped in mystery and myth. One version says that Romulus disappeared during a thunderstorm while reviewing his troops near the Palus Caprae, Goat's Marsh, in the Campus Martius. As the storm raged, he was suddenly engulfed in a cloud and vanished. His body was never found. Some claimed he had been taken up to the heavens by the gods and was later worshipped as the god Quirinus, a divine protector of Rome, but another version, less divine and more political, suggests that Romulus was murdered by the Senate. According to this tale, his autocratic rule had angered the senators and they killed him, then tore his body apart and each senator smuggled out a piece to avoid suspicion. The story was later covered with a myth to protect the city's image. Regardless of how he died, the legend of Romulus did not end with his life. Romans continued to honor him as both founder and god, and his story remained central to Rome's identity for centuries. Rome's early years were ruled by kings, 7 in total, each adding something to the young city. They built temples, bridges, and traditions. But not all kings were loved. The last, Tarquinius Superbus, Tarquin the Proud, was overthrown after a scandal that shocked the city. His son attacked a noblewoman named Lucretia. Her suicide stirred outrage. The people rose. They drove out the monarchy, swearing never again to be ruled by a king. It was the end of monarchy and the beginning of something radical, a republic. Tarquin ruled like a tyrant, dismissing the Senate, ruling through fear. But it was the dishonor brought by his son, Sextus Tarquinius, that pushed Rome over the edge. Lucretia, a noblewoman, took her life after being violated by the prince. Her death became a rallying cry led by Lucius Junius Brutus. The Romans expelled the royal family. In place of a king, they created something unheard of in their world, a state ruled by the people, or at least by some of them. In 509 BCE, the Roman Republic was born. Power would now be held not by one man, but by 2 elected consuls. Each year, new leaders would take command. Laws were debated in the Senate, but not everyone had a voice. The elite patricians dominated, while commoners, the plebeians, had to fight for every right. They left the city in protest, went on strike, and demanded representation. The Republic was a radical experiment. It was meant to check power, to avoid tyranny. 2 consuls could veto each other. Emergency powers were temporary. The Senate advised but held immense influence. Still, the divide between rich and poor was deep. The patricians controlled the land, the army, and the law. The plebeians, though larger in number, were excluded from power. In response, they walked out, literally. In events known as the secessions of the plebs, they left the city until their demands were heard. Slowly, painfully, they won rights to elect tribunes, to hold office, and to protect their interests. Over time, they won it. Tribunes were created to defend them. Laws were written down. Bit by bit, the Republic became more balanced, but never truly equal. The 12 Tables, Rome's first set of written laws, gave shape to justice. They were harsh, but public. As the Republic evolved, it became more stable, but also more ambitious. Laws, alliances, and military campaigns all worked toward one goal: domination. Even as internal conflicts smoldered, Rome's armies looked outward. The stage was set for expansion. As Rome matured, it looked outward. First, it conquered neighboring tribes, then all of Italy. Its armies grew sharper, its ambitions bolder, but its greatest test came across the sea: a powerful rival named Carthage. The Punic Wars would define the next century. Carthage was no small threat. It was a trading giant with a strong navy and control over much of North Africa and Spain. The First Punic War was fought over Sicily, the second over revenge. Hannibal, Carthage's greatest general, crossed the Alps with elephants and devastated Roman legions on their own soil. Yet Rome never gave up. After nearly 20 years of war, they turned the tide. In the Third Punic War, they finished the job. Carthage was destroyed, its people sold into slavery, its land cursed. In 146 BCE, it destroyed Carthage completely. The city was leveled. Salt was spread over the earth. Rome had no rival left in the west. The Mediterranean now belonged to Rome. They called it Mare Nostrum, our sea. Trade flourished, fortunes grew, but so did inequality. The spoils of empire flowed to the elite, while common soldiers returned home to find their farms taken and their rights ignored. Rome was victorious, but Rome was also wounded, from within. But with Carthage gone, a new challenge emerged, one that couldn't be defeated by swords or ships. It came from within: greed, ambition, and the hunger for power. They would test the Republic more than any foreign enemy ever could. Victory had made Rome rich and restless. New provinces meant new governors and new opportunities for corruption. Generals began building private armies, senators schemed for influence, political violence became common. The Republic that had once been a beacon of shared rule was cracking, and soon it would collapse. Enjoying the journey through history? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community of history enthusiasts. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Tell us what you think, share your favorite historical insights, or suggest a topic you'd love to see us explore. And if you know someone who would love diving into the past, share this video with them. Let's uncover history together.